decided to do something a little bit different today and do a versus video.
Lestat versus
Lucius Malfoy. So, fans of Lestat will certainly know the insane brat prince.
He's ornery. Very ornery.
And fans of Lucius Malfoy know that he's regal, evil, and pretty much a shit.
Yeah, he's got that royal snot attitude.
Yeah. But he has that kind of presence that makes you pay attention to him.
And so does Lestat.
Yes.
He also has that when he wants to be.
Oh,
very
yes.
regal, very royal, very look down.
Yes, look at me. So we thought it'd be fun to talk about two of our favorite literary characters as well as characters in film and break down the different things that they both have in common and do differently.
They both have the look in common, the smoldering look.
Very much so. And, you know, I think in terms of, like, you can get down to, like, little nitty-gritty in terms of, like, you know, Lestat's hair is kind of curly and Lucius Malfoy's hair is straight, but that is, like, not even important because the way that Lucius Malfoy is described and the way that Lestat is described is actually very similar. They both have kind of a Roman nose. They both have this bright blonde hair.
Kind of that more, you know...
They're both from kind of like the rich aristocratic families. Yeah. So they're actually almost like two sides of the same coin, except for one's a vampire and one's a dark wizard.
They both are very capable of evil deeds.
Very much so. I don't think anyone will deny that, you know, Lestat, being the vampire that he is, has not done some evil things in his life.
They're all written down.
Yes. And he describes them in great detail.
Yeah. Almost like a badge of honor.
Yeah.
That one.
They both have ego for miles.
Yes.
It's not even days, it's miles.
It's miles.
You know, because... Granted, Lucius Malfoy was knocked down a peg from having to go to Azkaban.
Yes.
But Lestat was knocked down a peg having his body stolen.
Yeah.
I mean, the parallels are really entertaining.
If you stand them up side by side, you can just, Lucius is kind of that, after he gets out of prison, still has that regal, I'm going to do this, but in a very controlled manner, until he slips.
Yes.
Because he slips. As soon as Lestat. Yep.
You can almost view them as twins, actually.
Lestat has a bucking attitude.
He does.
He's one of those creatures, if you tell him no, he comes back with, we'll see.
Or, for now.
Yeah, for now.
The other thing that is really kind of a standout thing to me is the fact that Lestat is definitely the vampire of the people, so to speak. He wants to be part of everyone. He wants to be seen. He wants to be understood. He creates music so people know his plight and will feel sorry for him and all of his trials and tribulations. And Lucius Malfoy is like, you don't deserve to sit at my table.
Yes, that's exactly it. Lestat is very much a, look at me, I'm one of you, sort of.
You should worship me because I'm fabulous.
And in that sense, Lestat is more independent than Lucius, because Lucius still has to report back to Voldemort.
Yes.
And his actions are very controlled to maintain his standing and that of his family at Voldemort's behest.
So you could kind of say that Lestat has no god, and Lucius Malfoy's god is Voldemort.
Yes.
Which I guess in a weird sort of way means that Lestat is God. In his mind.
In his mind. In his mind, that's what I'm pretty sure that he thinks he is. Which is why, he and Akasha got along so well.
Yes! But she made the mistake of trying to control Lestat.
Yeah, and that one you just can't do. Whereas Lucius allows himself to be controlled to the point of advancement. He's almost very old royal court in that
very
manner.
Much so.
Whereas Lestat was royal court and pretty much skirted around it going,
yeah, exactly. Plus, you could also say that Lestat is much better at court politics than Lucius Malfoy.
yes.
Because Lestat manipulates everything to make him come out of the top.
Whereas Lucius does not.
No.
He kind of failed on that front.
Badly. I think
and
Lucius thinks he's Lestat sometimes.
Yes.
But he's not.
He is not. At least in our opinion, he's not. Who do you guys think is more of a bad boy?
I think definitely Lestat.
I'm going to have to agree with Lestat.
Because Lestat is certainly...
It's that independence thing
and the
with
bucking
me.
and the ability to get himself out of tight situations, unscathed virtually.
For the most part.
Yes.
He has some rough moments.
He does. But he overcomes them.
He has some
with
rough
pizzazz.
moments. A few rats and a few witches later.
Yeah.
And some issues with God. He overcomes things. Whereas, in the end...
Lucius Malfoy has been relegated to really a sad, sorry state of a wizarding supremacist.
Yeah.
Whose family hates him.
Yep. He really lost... While he might have won some of the battles, he lost the war.
Yeah.
So, in that, Lestat goes on to still be the bad boy and, the bucking brat.
The other thing is that which creature is probably the more epitome of darkness and energy? Vampire or dark wizard?
It depends, because the vampire, to an extent, doesn't have a choice. He becomes the darkness and becomes one with it. The dark wizard has chosen his path.
But technically the vampire has too. The vampire could have chosen to have this event, could actually have chosen to become a vampire and then gone down a path. Specifically Lestat, he was forced into being a vampire. But then he made himself into the best vampire of them all.
Right.
Whereas Lucius Malfoy is not the best dark wizard of them all.
No, he had the thought process that he could be.
Yeah.
And he made the wrong alliances.
Yes.
To do that, so...
Now, then you get into the other thing, does Lucius Malfoy actually have the powers to have been as good as Voldemort? I would say probably not, otherwise he would have manipulated things to achieve everything he wanted to.
I think he would have killed Voldemort.
Definitely.
And taken over.
Yeah.
Kind of like in a Sith manner, you kill him. Whereas Lestat just kind of waltzes in and is just like...
Sits at the table like...
Who am I screwing over today?
Yeah, Oh, you only have that type of wine?
Meanwhile, he's, shoving poison down the glass to somebody and,
Exactly.
having them here taste this.
So I think, granted, Tabby and I are certainly biased toward Lestat. We love Lucius Malfoy, but I think in terms of characterization, Lestat is the much stronger character.
I think he's the stronger character. That being said, Lucius Malfoy has a presence.
He does.
So when he walks in, he does command the room, even with Dumbledore.
Mm-hmm.
He tries to command the room, but he also gets shot down.
Yes, he does.
He doesn't quite have that manipulative factor that Lestat does. So
now, I would say that the only dark wizard that probably could have taken down Voldemort, had he chose to do so, would have been Grindelwald.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yeah. That would have been an interesting one.
It would have been.
So. Tell us what you think.
Yeah, comment down below with who you think is the cooler blonde badass character.
And until next time.